Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to be giving my top 10 current favorite wrestlers from AEW and WWE, whether it's the champions or whatever. Whoever is on this top 10 is my favorites right now. This list literally took me a while to figure out because I have a lot of favorites right now, but I'm going to go ahead and go down and give you my top 10 for right now. Coming in at the number 10 spot, the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre. He probably could have been a little bit closer down onto the list, like in the top 5. But like I said, it took me a long time to figure out this list because there is a lot of wrestlers that I'm a fan of right now. And Drew McIntyre made it onto this top 10 list because ever since he left WWE, he went to the Indies, made a name for himself, won titles all over the world, came back, won the NXT Championship, and at WrestleMania 36 won the WWE Championship from Brock Lesnar. I mean, he just had to be on this list. Coming in at number 9, we got Seth Rollins, and I know a lot of you are probably going to be like, why is he number 9 and not farther down the list, like number 1 or something? Well, it's because his current gimmick isn't exactly my favorite, but I had to put him on here. He is honestly one of the best wrestlers in the world. If they give him enough time and give him a great opponent, it is going to be a banger of a match. And honestly, like I said, he's one of the best in the world, and I've been a fan of him ever since I saw him in NXT. Ever since he debuted with the Shield, I have been a huge fan of Seth freaking Rollins. Coming in at the number 8 spot, the WWE Champion himself, and I knew he had to be in the top 10 for me because right now he is one of my favorite wrestlers in WWE. I mean, he's the WWE Champion. He's had an amazing year, won Money in the Bank, cashed in on Bobby Lashley, has had great title defenses, and now he is set to defend the title at Day 1 in a fatal 4-way, and that's going to be awesome. And honestly, Big E has had one hell of a year, and he had to be in my top 10. And coming in at number 7, our first from AEW, I had to put Adam Cole on this list. Like, there was no other choice but to put Adam Cole on this list. He is one of my favorites. He is honestly one of the best wrestlers of this generation. I mean, ever since he came into NXT, he had an amazing NXT career. I never really watched that many matches of his on Ring of Honor, but I've watched a few highlights of his matches before he came to NXT. I mean, I knew who he was. I've heard of his name. I just really didn't know what he was capable of in the ring until NXT. And honestly, now that he's back in AEW, now that he's in AEW, back with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, who knows where they're going to go. But Adam Cole is undisputedly going to be a world champion in AEW. I guarantee you that, baby. Coming in at number 6, it is the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Lucha Brothers. And I know this is a current favorite wrestler, it's not a current favorite tag team, but I honestly could not choose between Rey Fenix and Penta when I was putting them on this list. So I just had to put them on there as the Lucha Brothers. I mean, honestly, they are two of the best wrestlers in the world, two of the best luchadors in the world, and I have been a fan of theirs ever since I started watching AEW. Like, when they were on AEW, I fell in love with the Lucha Brothers. I mean, what Rey Fenix can do in that ring is freaking unbelievable. And also Penta, he is unbelievable as well. I had to put them on here as a tag team, as a duo, because honestly, I couldn't choose between either one of them, so they both made it on the list. Coming in at the number 5 spot, honestly, I couldn't think of anybody more deserving of this in my top 5 favorite than Bianca Belair. I mean, she's literally been one of my favorites since NXT, and the fact that she won the Royal Rumble this past year, literally went on the main event against a legend in the women's division like Sasha Banks, and honestly, what a main event that was for WrestleMania Night 1. She ended up winning the SmackDown Women's Championship, winning it on to feud with Bayley for the title and Carmella, and then moved to Monday Night Raw and feuded with Becky Lynch after losing, you know, the SmackDown Women's title at SummerSlam in 26 seconds. They feuded over the Raw Women's Championship when they both got drafted over the Raw. And Bianca, I can't think of anybody other than maybe Damian Priest that has had such a great year like Bianca, and she deserved the top 5 spot here in my top 10 favorites. Coming in at number 4 is none other than Hangman Adam Page, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And oh my God, I have been a fan of his ever since Dynamite started. You know, ever since him and Jericho fought for the first ever AEW World Heavyweight Championship, and he came so close, but not close enough. And then he lost in the Eliminator to Kenny, and he just did not get the World Heavyweight Championship, and he was feuding with Kenny, and he ended up taking the title off of Kenny. And I think that whole entire place there for Full Gear absolutely went nuts whenever Hangman won the title. I mean, honestly, he has been a fan favorite for everybody, I think. I can't really speak for anybody else, but he has definitely been a fan favorite of mine for a very long time, and I had to put him here in the top 4. I mean, he literally just deserves a top 4 spot. He has done absolutely amazing, and his chase to the World Heavyweight Championship felt so great when he finally won that title, and he gets the number 4 spot. And now we're cracking into our top 3. You better acknowledge this man, Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, the Universal Champion at number 3, and I know he probably should have been number 1, but honestly, there's 2 others that I honestly am more of a fan of than Roman Reigns, but I am a huge fan of Roman Reigns. It is by a very small amount that I like these other 2 more than Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns, what a year and a half he has had, beating Brock Lesnar's record as Universal Champion. Honestly, he's the best Universal Champion of all time, and honestly, that's a small list of Universal Champions anyway, but Roman Reigns has been the best, and honestly, he has defeated the likes of Finn Balor, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Edge, Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania in a triple threat. I mean, honestly, you can't not tell me that Roman Reigns is not a good wrestler after this year. Honestly, I've been a fan of Roman way before now, and honestly, he's been one of my favorites. I knew he was a great wrestler. A lot of people just didn't want to admit it for some reason, but Roman Reigns honestly is the face of WWE right now, and he's definitely in my top 3. Coming in at the number 2 spot, I couldn't think of anybody else other than Bryan Danielson. Honestly, he is one of the best, if not the greatest technical wrestlers in wrestling history. I mean, just this year, he's fought in Suzuki, he's fought in Hangman, he's fought in Kenny. I mean, what a year it has been. He has fought some of the best wrestlers in the world, and honestly, I cannot believe that he literally has literally this year, main event at WrestleMania 37, then went on to wrestle the biggest pay-per-view of AEW this year, Full Gear, in the same year. That is insane. He's fought for the Universal Championship. He's fought for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship this year. It is insane to think just this year, he was literally facing Roman Reigns, and then he was facing Kenny, and then Hangman, and then all these people in AEW. What a year it has been for Bryan Danielson. I mean, especially after coming to AEW, he has not missed. Every single match he has had in AEW is so freaking good, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for him, especially when him and Hangman battle it out again. And now topping it off at number 1, my top favorite wrestler currently, none other than Kevin Owens, and honestly, he has been one of my favorites for a very long time. He's a former United States champion, former Universal, former Intercontinental. I mean, what hasn't he done in WWE? He's just amazing, and now he's literally in a fatal 4-way at day 1 for the WWE Championship against Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, and Kevin Owens, and I cannot wait for that matchup. Honestly, I really would love to see Kevin Owens win the world title again. He has not been a world champion in quite some time, but he is honestly my number 1 favorite wrestler currently, and I don't think that's going to change. Him and Bryan Danielson were very close, but I had to put Kevin Owens at number 1. Honestly, he's kind of relatable, and I honestly feel the emotion that he brings every single time he's in the ring, and he really has not had that many bad matchups in WWE, and honestly, I can't wait to see him possibly become WWE champion again.